For years, for 10 years actually, I taught at the secondary level, predominantly English 2, which is state tested. When I first began teaching, I was middle school, taught middle school for a few years. Katrina hit, and then I moved up to the high school. So I've worked mostly with older students. And over the years, you can see children who withdraw from the lesson. They're disengaged, they seem disinterested. At times, they may come across as defiant. But in reality, when you talk to them and you get to know them, when you show that genuine interest, you can tell that they want something more. They don't know how to ask for that.
During first grade, she did great. It was really good because, it's small words, small, short sentences. When we got towards the end of first grade and started introducing longer sentences and bigger words, it hit. And when it hit hard. So I went to the school and I told her teacher, I said, look, I'm seeing these red flags. She was not retaining any information. By the time she got done trying to get through a sentence of decoding the sentence, it was gone. She couldn't remember anything she just read. It took so much energy and effort to make it through one sentence. So then they started giving her packets. Well, they were giving all the kids packets. And Mallory could not complete the packets because she could not read the packet. So she spent all day on one subject. While all the other kids went on doing whatever they needed to go do, whether it was art, library, recess. Not Mallory. Mallory stayed in her desk with a packet. After 2.5 months in public school, I started noticing that my little girl was not the same little girl that I enrolled in public school 2 months ago. Confidence was broken. She was always weepy, always emotional. She talked bad about herself. She talked down about herself.
Hannah, I think, went through that. She made good grades, but homework would take us an hour and a half every night in first grade. There was one meeting in particular where they made mention that they had given Hannah a screener test for dyslexia, and she passed it, but barely. And so that was probably the first clue that I was like, oh, dyslexia, that, word kind of, I guess, came into our thought process. But being totally honest, had no idea what dyslexia was. I'm going to give her a test myself. She just wasn't, wanting to open up with the teacher or the counselor, whoever gave the test. So I'm going to look into this and I'll test her on my own at home, which I did. I actually went online. I looked up dyslexia. I'm trying not to get upset. It's very emotional time. Anyway, I gave her the test myself at home, got the same exact result. She passed it, but barely.
So our last day at public school, this is what she got in the car with. It's called My Mistake Masterpiece. They were given an assignment to draw a mistake. My daughter got in the car and she drew a picture of herself. She drew a picture of herself sitting at her desk with a packet with her teacher standing over her. This child's at library, this child's at art, this child's at music, not her, she's still in the classroom. She chose the subject of My Mistake Masterpiece to be her, and she was the mistake. We didn't go back. That was her last day there. We didn't go back.
Our story, we went through many, many schools. Dyslexia runs in our family. Can she please be tested? Had her fully tested. She came back that she did have dyslexia and needed help. Then COVID hit and everything got shut down.
I'm a former educator. I actually taught for 2 years. My first year was during 2020, during COVID. So that was quite different. And during COVID, all the teachers in Mississippi are actually mandated to take a dyslexia course where they give you signs and symptoms to watch out for your students. And as I'm sitting there in this dyslexia course, things are popping out to me that my son was doing. Now I have to find someone who tests for this specific learning disability privately. So I took the recommendation from his pediatrician. I took a day off work, he took a day off school, and we went and had him tested.
And we were waiting on the results to come back knowing that she was dyslexic, we said, like, we really need to see, like, if we can get into Lighthouse or what that looks like. And so we actually came up here and met before we had the official paper diagnosis or whatever, and said, let's just go check this school out, see what this is about. And prayed a lot about it, and honestly remember leaving the school after we'd had our initial conversation with a few of the teachers in the school during the summer still, before school had started, and walking out to the car and just being like, I really hope that we can get her into this school, and I just pray so much that this is like an actual diagnosis of dyslexia so that she can be in Lighthouse.
I came here. And my first year, I worked with math and science. Never dreamed that I would do that. But I also got a small glimpse into the therapy. And I watched children that came to us at the start of the year with the same walls that I had seen in my secondary students. And of course, we build walls as a way to protect. And so I watched the longer they were here, bits and pieces of those started to come down. And I saw the change in them, in their interactions with other students. I saw them smiling in the mornings when they came to school. I talked with my families, and I realized it wasn't just changing their lives, it was changing the lives of everyone in their household. And they began to feel empowered, and they believed in themselves. And so the impact was on the whole child. And for years, I believed in working with the whole child. I just wasn't exactly sure what that looked like. And I knew at that point I had to learn more about this.
And I'm looking for schools that are prepared or have knowledge of dyslexia because I need to get him into school. Then we were living in the Delta of Mississippi. I'm searching the internet, and of course about 4 or 5 different schools pop up in Mississippi. But for some reason, Lighthouse just, I guess you could say, spoke to me.
As I began the therapy, I had never seen anything work for children like this did. And I had students come to me that at the beginning of the year, they couldn't read a word like it. And then I was receiving a video in May of a young woman who was reading at her first Holy Communion Mass from the Bible. And so to me, that was quite profound.
When schools opened back up, we applied to Lighthouse. It was their first year as Lighthouse. And it has made a world of difference.
Just understanding the program and where they are going and how they can help these kids, like, is completely changes the trajectory of their lives with the work that they're doing.
I actually moved here for his education. We were living 4 hours away in Mississippi Delta in Sunflower County. And we moved 4 hours south to Gulfport, and we make a 30-minute commute every day. Well, an hour, because it's 30 minutes here and 30 minutes back for his education.
It has never been, I think, for us oh my goodness, this is a disability. This has been a blessing, like a huge blessing to get.
It has. It started out as a very confusing, frustrating journey that now I can look back 3 years later and see the growth in all of us and Hannah, ourselves, and I'm just so thankful.
I have one story. She came home from school one day. Well, we actually went to my parents, and she ran out to the porch to see my stepdad, and she goes, it was the day that it finally clicked for her, and she ran out there and said, Papa, Papa, I'm not dumb. And that was the day the light bulb went off for her. And it's all been downhill since then.
These kids were smart. These kids are gonna change the world. My baby's gonna change the world. All of the 1 in 5 kids, as long as they're given what they need. They're inventors, they're artists, they're authors, they're engineers.